Welcome to this explainer. Today, I'm speaking to you not merely as your host, but as Das Wanderer. We are stepping straight into the heavy shadows of the Gilded Hollow to confront the true, raw, psychological nature of your personal stagnation. Look, if you've ever felt completely trapped in a suffocating cycle of mediocrity, we're going to reframe that inner struggle today. Think of it as a grim, dark Gothic fable, understood through the razor-sharp lens of Freudian psychoanalysis. Come on, let's break your chains.
Hear me, you who trail behind me in the dust. I'm calling out directly to your weary soul right now. It's time to leave behind the suffocating, pathetic safety of the valley where you've been trapped for so long. Why? Because anyone who reaches true freedom of the mind must walk the earth forever as a stranger. I don't offer you a final, comfortable destination. Actually, there is no final destination. My only homeland is the road beneath my feet.
Section 1. The Hollow of Stagnation, a prison of petty comforts.
So you currently reside in a valley filled with what I like to call the warm sleep of the herd. It's a place absolutely choked with small virtues, petty little comforts, and the sweet, paralyzing poison of pity. To understand exactly why you're stuck here, we have to look deep into the dark, damp basement of your psyche. Down there, you'll find the Freudian id. In our fable, picture it as this monstrous tarantula named Von Nixt, which literally translates to from nothing. This hideous creature weaponizes your so-called virtue just to hide its own primal envy. It spins this incredibly sticky web of resentment, preaching a gray silk of enforced equality, and it labels your very natural burning urge for growth as a dangerous threat to its precious peace.
And you know, this web of forced equality, it isn't some beautiful utopian social ideal. No, it is a stifling, venomous trap. The tarantula's piece is perfectly designed to paralyze your spirit, ensuring that your life remains as flat and sterile as a tomb. I call this the safety of the dust. Make no mistake, it is nothing but a mask for your own internal decay.
Section 2. The Judge and the Jester. The High Towers of the Mind.
Now, as you look up from that dark basement, you see the high towers of your mind. This is where your psyche stages a massive, endless struggle, and where your ego, quite frankly, utterly fails to mediate between two incredibly destructive extremes. On one side, you have the High Judge. This is your superego, offering a fearful, sterile safety wrapped in hollow laws, wielding a gavel just to protect a dusty, lifeless museum of the soul. On the exact opposite side sits the Jester, representing a totally maladaptive, failing ego. The Jester offers you nothing but nihilistic mockery. He strips away your facades using a void mirror, but offers absolutely no vision whatsoever for how to rebuild yourself.
So what happens here? Total failure. Both of these figures fail you completely. The Judge cowers from the dark creature in the walls, prioritizing sterile safety over the vibrant, dangerous elevation of your spirit. The Jester, meanwhile, just triggers an inferno of purposeless reaction, stripping away illusions, sure, but leaving you, the patient, to perish in the dark without any true illumination. They are literally just two sides of the exact same nihilistic coin, totally terrified of the fire of transformation.
So, faced with the architecture of the Gilded Hollow dissolving into ash all around you, I have to ask you a stark question. Will you just rot in these valleys, or will you finally build a self? You have to choose right now between remaining a sad little cog in a machine of pure retribution or taking the painful, necessary steps to forge something much, much greater.
Section 3. The Creative Architect. Sublimating the Void.
Okay, let's talk about the way out. This is how you escape the trap, through an alternative model of psychic health that we call the Creative Architect. This is the successful ego. Instead of letting the id pull you down into the dirt or letting the Jester completely tear you apart with mockery, this ego actually sublimates the venom of envy into profound self-transformation. It takes that raw energy and fills the cavity of the void, using the sheer, brutal effort of the climb to build a lasting, unbreakable internal order. Now this is where the contrast gets really stark. Look at the grand illusion of value found down in the valley compared to the continuous self-overcoming required up on the mountain. The herd completely avoids the shock of becoming, they settle for a miserable, enforced equality and hide in terror from their own past shadows. But I, the wanderer, I burn with the relentless ache of becoming. I deliberately choose the glorious inequality of the upward path, and I accept my heavy, dark shadows as absolute, undeniable proof of an inner light.
Section 4. Loving the Mountain Ice, the Actionable Ascent.
All right, let's get highly actionable here.
These are the harsh but entirely liberating rules to bridge abstract philosophy into practical courage. Step 1. Leave the marketplace and that warm sleep of the herd immediately. The crowd is a cage, binding you with heavy chains of petty truths. Silence is your new teacher. Step 2. Confront your internal decay directly. Step 3. Sublimate that venomous envy into creative, monumental work. And Step 4. Embrace the relentless ache of growth and the scars of transformation. The path requires isolation, so you can finally find your own star.
Listen, you complain of the cold, my shadow. You shrink from the biting wind that howls at the edge of the towns. But he who wishes to climb the highest mountains must learn to genuinely love the sharp ice and that biting wind. You absolutely cannot expect the ascent to be warm or forgiving. It's just not going to happen. The soul must stretch to the absolute breaking point before it can fly. You must learn to love the ice.
Out on this ascent, you are going to discover some harsh, brilliant truths. First, ignorance of the future actually fosters courage. Think about it. If you knew the whole grueling path before you walked it, you'd destroy your own courage. You'd be too terrified to even start. Being completely lost is entirely necessary to find yourself. Looking downward from the high peaks isn't about falling. It's to measure your immense growth. And having a long, dark shadow? Do not hate it. It just proves you walk in the blazing noon of truth and that you are finally real.
To truly forge yourself into something that outlasts the pathetic decay of the valley, you have to let the old gods rot and violently embrace the struggle. You must carry a heavy hammer to shatter those old laws, and you absolutely must learn to laugh at your own agonizing pain. Only then do you become the absolute architect of your own mind. Learn to dance on the edge of the abyss. Today, you are free, but your greatest freedom is the courage to wander forever. The true justice of this arduous journey, it's not found in reaching a comfortable final destination. It just isn't. It is found in the glorious, unending process of surpassing your own limitations over and over again.
The heavy chains of petty truths are completely broken. The gray silk of the tarantula's web has been violently torn away. The cage is finally open. So what will you do with the blazing noon of your newfound freedom? Will you retreat to the warm sleep of the herd in the gilded hollow, speaking only to the echoes of yesterday? Or will you step onto the sharp ice, embrace the heavy shadows, and begin the endless ascent? The choice is entirely yours. Thanks for joining me on this explainer. Keep wandering,